Tokers.
Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Yes, cannabis. Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer-mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical, Russ Belville.
Welcome back, everybody. 4:02 in the Pacific Time Zone. Time for Toker Talk Radio, where you are the voice of the marijuana nation. Our phone lines are open at 971-533-7111. And I'm still pissed off. Yeah, I'm pissed off. Because we're getting to a point here where zealotry, ego, and religious fervor are causing the cause of legalization to stumble and stall. Ego and religious zealotry. A lot of it's religious zealotry. And let me back up a second here on the whole Paul Stanford thing. Paul Stanford gets a lot of adulation here in Oregon because he runs the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, which is a chain of medical marijuana clinics, right? You take in your paperwork and they have a doctor that looks over it and then you get your medical marijuana card. So a lot of people hold him in very high esteem because without him, they'd be criminals, right? They wouldn't be able to get their medical marijuana card. There's a lot of other places you can get your card as well, but still a lot of people get their card and they thank him for it. They think he's such a great guy. And then he hosts this TV show on cable access here, Cannabis Common Sense. We used to run it here on 420 Radio, and it's seen in a lot of cable outlets across the country. And he does know a lot about the truth about cannabis and, says that it should be legal and all that. And that's all wonderful. That's all great stuff. But there's got to be a point where people will hold him accountable for his fuck-ups, and they never do, and it just pisses me off sometimes. For example, you remember Einstein's quote? It's attributed to Einstein. I'm not sure he said it, but the quote that goes, insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, that's the definition of Paul Stanford right there. Let me give you an example. One year when this Octa was being campaigned on, I think it was 2010, Paul decided that one of the ways that we could raise campaign funding for this Cannabis Tax Act was through a series of concerts that we would hold, fundraising concerts in different parts of the state that would feature John Trudell and Bad Dog or Big Dog. I don't know if it's Big Dog or Bad Dog. John Trudell and Bad Dog. What's that you say? Who the fuck is John Trudell and Bad Dog? Exactly. That was your headline act. John Trudell and Bad Dog. And then Tim Pate was playing, and then I played one of the gigs as well with Tim. I was playing bass, right? But the idea was we'd sell tickets to these concerts as a fundraiser, make all this money for the campaign. So I had to take time out of my day and rehearse some songs and get with Tim and rehearse some songs and get it planned how I would get down to the event. It turned out I was driving down to one of the Cannabis Cups, so I'd already be on my way down I-5 to make this one concert that we were going to play, right? The first concert of them. So I get down there to the concert, get on stage. There might be 40 people in the audience, maybe 40. And of those 40, at least half of them were with the band or part of the campaign, and I know they didn't pay to get in. And from what I understand, that was the big turnout. The other two concerts were even worse. Now, that's fine, man. I can understand, you throw something at the wall, you hope it sticks, and then it doesn't. You try to raise some money, and it turns out bad. I don't hold that against someone. What I do hold against them is the next year, when they try the exact same tactic, and it turns out exactly the same way. This time, the big fundraising concert was going to be Toots and the Maytals. Some of you may know who Toots and the Maytals are, actually. I didn't, but apparently very big in the reggae circles, right? So you got at least a bigger name, right? Toots and the Maytals. But this concert was scheduled to be held way out of town, out of Portland, on the outskirts of Portland, on the 4th of July weekend, which just happens to be the same exact weekend of the nationally acclaimed, hugely attended, absolutely free Portland Waterfront Blues Festival, which that year I believe featured Eric Clapton. So your choice for entertainment on the 4th of July weekend was go hang out on the beautiful Portland waterfront in the gorgeous weather near the river with 100,000, 150,000 of your friends and listen to Eric Clapton live for the price of 2 cans of food to the food bank. Or you could go way out of town and spend $40 to see Toots and the Maytals and support marijuana legalization. What do you suppose people did? Yeah. Once again, huge failure.
Grifo, grass, hay. Technically, it's cannabis sativa, the common name, marijuana. She has found a crutch to see her through her difficulties instead of facing up to them and coping with them. And in time, she may be ready to try something different, something better.
Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
420 Radio, your ticket to the High Times Cannabis Cups. The Marijuana Business Association, or MJBA, are proud sponsors of the Russ Belville Show. It is the mission of the MJBA to establish integrity and legitimacy, create common market standards, provide market intelligence, and develop best ethical business practices for participants in the emerging legal marijuana industry, including commercial hemp, medical marijuana, and recreational marijuana for adults. Learn more about the Marijuana Business Association and visit mjba.net to join today. That's mjba.net. The Jody Emery Show, replaying Fridays at 1 Pacific on 420radio.org. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, treat law enforcement with respect and stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney." Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com.
Back in the days, they had the Hater of the Year award. Haters ball, man. 24/7 around the clock. That's how they do it. Inside is a move on Pacific Grove. Right here. In the city that we call Dodge City. Got a lot of hatred around this place.
Welcome back, everybody. Almost 10 after the hour. That's music from CI, Haters 24/7. Welcome back. It's Toker Talk Radio, and I'm still pissed off. Still in ranty mode. It's continuing my discussion of CRRH and Paul Stanford. So I left you off with the disastrous reggae concert on the 4th of July that ended up costing campaign money. Ended up costing the campaign money. Didn't raise them any money. They actually went in the red putting on this concert, right? So you have failure after failure after failure after failure, continuing to employ the same tactics year after year, thinking that, we can hold a fundraising show and we can write the language we like, and with all volunteers, we can get it on the ballot and get it passed. And the more of my friends go to prison, the less patience I have for this amateur bullshit. It was a little easier to be patient before marijuana had been legalized in Washington and Colorado, because no one had done it yet. Who knows how it's done? We don't know yet. No one's done it. But then I got involved with the Prop 19 campaign in 2010. Now, that's a special campaign in that it's the only statewide legalization campaign that ever got on the ballot aside from OCTA, Oregon's OCTA. These are the two, Oregon's OCTA in 2012 and Prop 19 in 2010. The only two that ever made the ballot without the initial deep pocket support of Drug Policy Alliance or Marijuana Policy Project. The only two. Now, a slight difference though. Prop 19 went into it with $1.5 million of Richard Lee's own money. His life savings. Took his whole life savings to put this on the ballot. And, another major difference, didn't try to legalize an unlimited amount of marijuana, for God's sake. Prop 19 was very conservative. An ounce of marijuana, a 5x5 garden, that was it. And stoners complained about that. Oh, 5x5 garden. That's not enough. That really sucks. Vote against it. I'll bet all you stoners in Fresno and San Jose and Lake County and a bunch of other places that now have absolute bans on growing anything, sure bet you'd like a 5x5 garden right now, wouldn't you? But Richard Lee got on the ballot, and after he made the ballot, big money supporters came in. They came in a little late, but they came in. Because they realized, while they had their doubts he'd make it the ballot, once he did make the ballot, they realized the guy behind it, Richard, was a professional guy who would take advice and take direction from professional campaigners. Unlike Paul Stanford. Did anyone else notice that when Prop 19 actually did make the ballot, people went, whoa, and they jumped up behind it? But when Oregon's Measure 80 made the ballot, that didn't happen. You didn't see any big funders say, oh, well, now he made the ballot, we'll support him. Everybody kept their political distance from it. No one wants to be near Paul Stanford. And it failed. At the same rate that Prop 19 failed, about 46.5%. Now, lest this be just a rant bashing Paul Stanford, let me move to some other states. Safer Arizona today, or was it yesterday, just admitted that they have to stop they're stopping their signature gathering campaign. They're all volunteer grassroots effort to legalize in Arizona because they'd only gathered 1/3 of the signatures of the 250,000 signatures they need. And they really need probably 350,000 if you want to consider, invalid signatures and all that, right? So 1/3 of 250,000, 80,000 signatures maybe with an all volunteer effort. And they complained that they all had day jobs, so they couldn't put as much time into it as they wanted to. Well, then don't fucking start it. Jesus. How many people that signed that got in their head that, oh my gosh, there's a chance we're going to legalize? How many people took time off of work? How many people printed out the petitions who went and gathered signatures out there to get their hopes up for something that never had a shot in hell? And you want to talk about the real offender out there. California Cannabis Hemp Initiative, the Jack Herer Initiative. God bless Jack Herer for his advocacy. But I look at Jack Herer kind of the same way I look at Jesus Christ. I like you a lot, but I got a problem with a lot of your followers. And that's the problem I got with Jack Herer. I like Jack Herer a whole lot. I got a problem with a lot of his followers who tend to deify the man and to have these pie in the sky, true legalization ideas. It's these Jack Harrerites like Paul Stanford and the ones with California Cannabis Hemp Initiative that have this grand vision of what true legalization should be and write the perfect legalization initiative for them, refusing to bow to the political reality that 88% of the people do not smoke pot, and they have to vote on this too. Coming forth with the most beautiful legalization and the best of intentions, and by golly, we'll get all volunteers out there, and if only each of our volunteers collects 1,000 signatures, by gum, we'll make the ballot. If only. If only is code word for fail, people. This time, 2014 came around, like 2012, 2010, they had Prop 19. And now the division has grown so much in California that this time around there was something like 5 different groups working on 5 different legalizations. That legalization's not true legalization. So where's California Cannabis Hemp Initiative on the ballot in 2010, in 2012, in 2014? Not on the ballot. See, here's how you get on the ballot, and here's how you win. And this is why I've got less patience for it, because now it's been proven in 2 states. You don't start with language and good intentions. You don't start with what you think legalization should be. You start with money. Don't even talk to me about your legalization idea if you don't have $100,000 in the bank to begin with. Don't even call me. Don't even email me. Don't send me the little Facebook things to promote. Don't send me the little tweets. Hey, Russ, will you please retweet our wonderful legalization? I don't even want to hear it until you can show me a bank account with 6 figures in it. That's where you start, because politics costs money. It shouldn't be that way. It ought not be that way. We should change that somehow. But I live in the reality where at least 6 of my friends will be doing hard prison time because of our failure to legalize marijuana. I haven't got the patience anymore. I haven't got the time anymore to entertain pie-in-the-sky notions of the perfect legalization. I want the one that wins. I want the one that keeps my friends from being arrested and harassed and jailed and having their pets killed. So now we've seen how it's done. You start with money. Now, there's 2 good conduits to that money: Drug Policy Alliance and Marijuana Policy Project. And now that there's legalization, there may actually even be more conduits to that money. We'll have our own millionaires that run, pot shops and testing labs and whatever else, right? That's going to come along too. So there'll be even more opportunities for you to start with the money. Start with the money. Now, once you got the money, you got to have some language. Not the language you want, the language the money wants. Folks, when people are putting in 6 figures into a campaign, think of them like bettors. They're making a bet. They want a return on their investment. In most cases, they're not throwing this kind of money around for ideological reasons. They are. There's some ideology behind it. They want to see marijuana legalized and all. But they're not just going to throw their money at every bet. They want to make the smart bet. So you got to show them polling. You got to show them language that has a shot in hell at passing. And that's not unlimited cultivation, unlimited possession, set free all the pot prisoners, $10 an ounce taxes, blah, 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 blah. That's not it. If it is, great. Hey, if you can show me a poll where 60% of the voters will support that, run with it. But that ain't reality. Now, there is a point to be made for principle. Do you compromise on home grow? Do you compromise on other issues because the money tells you to, because the polls tell you to, because that's what will win? My answer in 2012 was pretty simple. Yes, we compromised that in Washington State. We compromised home grow in Washington State because we didn't know if marijuana legalization could happen. My answer now is no. We've proven that it can win without compromising home grow. And Oregon's going to prove that in spades come this election. There we go. It's 4:20. I gotta relax a little. Somehow last night, I hurt my neck. I wasn't even doing anything. I was sitting here reading the computer, and all of a sudden I went, holy shit, my neck really hurts. It was so bad last night I could hardly sleep. So, I need some anti-inflammatory. Happy 420. We'll be right back.
420 Radio, turning red states and blue states green. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.
Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Very effective. Check out lushledlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Irie Wednesday, featuring reggae, ska, and other world music genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
All right, folks, this couldn't have come soon enough for me. It's 23 after the hour, time to relax a little bit and think happier thoughts. Some people just piss me off so bad. Anyway, for our Irie Wednesday today, Gordon Green can't join us. He's in an airport flying from one place to another, so I can't call in at this time. But he sent me an email earlier and said that we ought to run with the tune that we tried to play last week. There was some glitch in the video download. And I really hope there's no glitch this time because I re-downloaded it from a different source. So we shall see. But continuing the theme of world music that we do on Irie Wednesday and that we feature on Gordon Green's Music Planet, we will be bringing you some music here from Manu Chao, a song called Me Gustas Tu. And if you want to hear more of this great world music, you can listen to Gordon Green's Music Planet tonight, coming up next, in fact, at 5 o'clock, new episode. And I guess in celebration of the World Cup, we've got music of Brazil. So listen in for some Brazilian music, brush up on your Portuguese. Maybe there'll be a girl from Ipanema in there somewhere. Anyway, let's get to our tunes. Let's relax, enjoy some herb. This is Manu Chao with Me Gustas Tu.
Que corazón, mi corazón. Te lo dije muy clarito. Permanece a la escucha. Permanece a la escucha.
12 de la noche en La Habana, Cuba.
11 de la noche en San Salvador, El Salvador.
11 de la noche en Managua, Nicaragua.
Me gustan los aviones, me gustas tú. Me gusta viajar, me gustas tú. Me gusta la mañana, me gustas tú. Me gusta el viento, me gustas tú. Me gusta soñar, me gustas tú. Me gusta la mar, me gustas tú. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais pas. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais plus. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je suis perdu. ¿Qué horas son? cocina, me
1
gustas
de la
tú.
mañana.
Me gusta camelar, me gustas tú. Me gusta la guitarra, me gustas tú. Me gusta el reggae, me gustas tú. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais pas. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais plus. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je suis perdu. ¿Qué horas son, mi corazón? Me gusta la canela, me gustas tú. Me gusta el fuego, me gustas tú. Me gusta menear, me gustas tú. Me gusta La Coruña, me gustas tú. Me gusta Malasaña, me gustas tú. Me gusta la castaña, me gustas tú. Me gusta Guatemala, me gustas tú. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais pas. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais plus. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je suis perdu. ¿Qué horas son, mi corazón? ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais plus. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais plus. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je suis perdu. ¿Qué horas son, mi corazón? ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais plus. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je ne sais plus. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Je suis perdu. ¿Qué horas son, mi corazón?
De la mañana.
Alabín, alabán, alabín, bombán. Alabín, alabán, alabín, bombán. Obladí, obladá, obladita, da. Alabín, alabán, alabín, bombán.
Radio Reloj. 5 de la mañana.
420 Radio. Tune in, turn on, get highly educated. Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com or by telephone at 503-853-1319. The Hollywood Hemptress Hour, replaying Tuesdays at 12 Pacific on 420radio.org.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com and follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter.
Welcome back, everyone. Just about half past the hour. That's music from 10-Foot Ganja Plant with suits and ski masks. All right, so we're just hanging out here, and I've decided to change my attitude, change my outlook on things, and waiting for Lively Libra to press the green phone icon so that we can get an update from our favorite Iowa refugee, our own Lively Libra, who is out there. One of our moderators, longtime fan and listener to the show, who can press that button anytime now and call into the show. I believe she's Skyping, so we're waiting for her to Skype. This will also let me know how much delay there is out there in internet land. There we go. Now we know. All right, welcome back. It's Toker Talk Radio, and we do have our Lively Libra on the line. Hi, Libra. Oh, I got to unmute you. Hold on. Too many buttons. There we go. Had to unmute you. Hi, Libra.
Okay, I'll try to say it with as much passion. Hi, Ross.
Okay, so folks, if you're new to the show, let me just fill you in. Lively Libra was a school teacher in Iowa who was outed for her pot activism and was thusly asked to retire, and then decided, fuck Iowa, I'm moving to Colorado. And that's where we're going to get our update, I suppose, is what's new for Libra in Colorado.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I wish it was as easy as fuck Iowa. I want to move to Colorado, but we certainly didn't get here that way. But there's a storm brewing up, actually, here in Denver. It was beautiful all day. Okay. Well, in Iowa, I was a public school teacher, mild-mannered by day. And then once I got glaucoma and after I discovered you and kind of became an activist and then did a little podcast thing, my school didn't like it, so I've been unemployed for 18 months, and then sick kid and other circumstances got us here in Denver, and about 4 months ago we decided just not to leave. So trying to survive, and 2 weeks ago I got my Marijuana Enforcement Division badge from the state of Colorado, $75, passed background checks, got fingerprinted like you would not believe. I sent out resumes to my favorite places, responded to one on Craigslist, didn't even know the name of the dispensary, but there's only 3 up in Clear Creek County, which is in the east side of the Front Range here. It's a place I want to get to. They have a school I want for my child, so I knew I wanted to reply to that. The guy called me Sunday. I interviewed Tuesday. They offered me the job today. It was my first interview. I'm now a budtender.
You are officially a Colorado licensed budtender.
You got it. So I'm going from a felon for a seed to I get paid to come home smelling like weed every day.
That's beautiful. Now, when you get the Marijuana Enforcement Division badge, do you actually get a badge?
Yes, you do. I have pictures up on my Facebooks and stuff. You get a blue badge, and they give you when you go in that day and fingerprint and get your photo taken. They show you the badge. You check it. They take it away from you while you pass the background checks, and if you do it, you get it in 7 to 10 days.
Wow.
So they get your money no matter what. But I actually had a little snafu with a student loan I didn't realize. Fixed that really quickly, so I got to go in after 3 days and pick mine physically up and didn't have to wait in the mail.
Badges? We don't need no stinking badges. Oh, no.
But I guess you do need a stinking badge, and it's literally a stinking badge, right?
It will be by the end of tomorrow. I start. They're having a grand reopening. Now, get this, Russ. They want me to run their medical room because they were one of the first 17 dispensaries that switched to full rec on January 1st, and they lost a lot of medical patients who said you abandoned us for rec, and prices went up, and so they're reopening on Friday with $5 eights to lure back patients.
Gotcha. Now you have like 2 separate sides, right? You got a medical side and a recreational side, right?
On the ones that are dual, some are only rec, only med, or some are dual.
Oh, so you are only rec shop.
No, I mean, it turned only rec, and then tomorrow's a grand reopening of their med side.
Oh, I get you. Okay.
With the rec.
Gotcha.
They've expanded, because they're tucked in there in the mountains. It's in Idaho Springs. It's called the Kind Mine. They know all about you and all about everything. They really didn't care about my experience. They wanted to know my relationship with marijuana.
That's wonderful. So, so this place was just a medical dispensary, and then when it became recreational, the patients got mad because they didn't have a medical place to go.
Yes.
But they could go to the
it was less focused on their needs, and all focused on, the rec prices. See, I'm not exactly sure where they were, because they were in construction yesterday or Tuesday when I was interviewing. Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, and it's like this would have been a tough decision for a lot of people to make, especially if you're not in Denver. If you're in a more isolated place, do you stick with the medical you've been doing and possibly forsake the the revenue you could make on recreational? But by doing that, do you piss off all your clientele that you've built up all those years who are patients? And this sounds like they're finally getting the chance. It sounds like they made the right decision, because it sounds like recreational provided them the funds to be able to expand and go back into medical.
Well, exactly. And if you are a dispensary on Interstate 70 west of Denver, you have to go by Idaho Springs to get to Vail, Breckenridge, all the ski resorts. So everybody knows Idaho Springs. And everybody is from out of state, out of country.
Wow. All right. So got questions in the chat room. Run Around wants to know, how's the discounts? And Canny is asking, is it Friday for the discounts?
Friday, it is. And it's medical patients. Now, Canny, I don't know if you have to sign up or what the deal is. They just told me about it during the interview. They're like, we'll get a Mac $5 rate if you don't want one. You know, and I was like, and I kind of shushed up and didn't, launch into medical versus recreational or anything, which I'm glad I did. But I think I'll be able to meet the patients and kind of help everybody understand, because I explained to them how I'm really a nunya, nunya damn business.
Yeah. But there is...
And, me... I went from total rec to total medical, Russ. We've had many discussions, and you're starting to piss me off a little bit. I love you, but we'll get there together, Russ.
Yeah. But there is
I think
something.
It's a both and.
There is something to be said, from the. I think there's two ways to look at it. You look at it from a political perspective. I like to be nunya, but if you look at it from a consumer perspective, there's an argument to be made, that a very strong argument, that the needs of patients are far different than the needs of a recreational crowd.
Yes.
We're going to need more CBD emphasis for some patients. We're going to need lower THC for some patients who want relief without getting too high, right? But on the recreational side, it's probably going to be just...
Go inside. Wait, go inside. Why are you talking to me? Excuse me, there's a tornado and there are 3 children. Tell me about it. Get your butts inside. Run. If there's a tornado. Oh, what? Gosh.
What?
Stopping to tell me about it. I'm sorry. They're not my children even.
There's a tornado where you're at? Should we get off the line?
A tornado warning. No, we'll hear the sirens first, but the sky did kind of get ominous.
Oh, my God. Okay.
But it'll be sunny in an hour, so, all right, yeah. Okay, now the questions in the chat room. We got cannies, but what about profits?
Bring your red card. Run Around and want to know, what's your employee discounts?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't even know what my hourly wage is. These guys are so chill. We had like a love connection. I mean, I felt it, and I'm so happy they did too, because I would have been crushed. I'm telling you, the owner called me and he said, oh, man, your resume is really impressive. I hope you're still available.
That's great.
Like my first interview.
That's so good.
That's pretty cool.
You deserved good things to happen to you, and I had a feeling they would. So I'm really happy that you made it out there to Colorado.
Yeah, well, things happen, and you have to kind of survive, and then you have to, do a lot of relying on friends, and you're one of them, Russ. And Sharon and so many people have directly helped us and indirectly. So I wanted to thank you. I thanked you in an email, but publicly, because without you, I never would have found my voice, and I never would have been here. I would still be in Iowa living a dual life, but not happily and not free, and certainly not respectable, and I think that's what I want. And I know that this badge does not vindicate the loss of my career, but I know it can't erase the good I did for kids. I was not a harm, and I know this, but Russ, you helped me from my office in Iowa, blossom in ways I can't tell you. And I don't want fame. I don't want anything. I want a little family. I want to sling weed in the mountains, and I'm going to frickin' do it in less than 24 hours. So thank you so much, buddy.
That's a beautiful thing, and thank you that's the best compliment a guy could possibly get. I appreciate that. And, they have that Aspen Legal Seminar every year, and I have to make it from the Denver airport up to Aspen, and that goes through Idaho Springs, I believe.
Well, I wonder who has an SUV that could pick you up.
I don't know. We'll have to get that all figured out. But, Idaho Springs, how ironic, too, being I'm from Idaho.
I know. Well, and it's an I state, people, get confused.
How many times did you get the Idaho, Iowa thing in your life? I mean...
Oh, always. Is Iowa the potato state?
Yeah, I always got the, so, like, are you from, I'd say, where you're born? I said, Nampa, Idaho. Because is that near Des Moines?
Exactly. But they most likely said Des Moines.
Yeah, Des Moines? Is that by Des Moines? No,
yeah, exactly.
Sorry. And it's not Boise, it's Boise. Damn it. Well, we will come and visit you at your weed slinging place. I think that's so great that
Well, yeah, anybody skiing along, come stop by the Kind Mine. It's the first one you get to. Don't drive by to the other ones. They're not nearly as cool. And, yeah.
Yeah, you are...
Tell them Lisa Calvin sent you, and I might be going through another name change, and that's a whole other story.
We'll save that for another time. But, yeah, from a felon for a seed to a girl slinging weed. It's beautiful. Love it.
Oh, can I steal that, please?
You got it.
I love you, Russ. Thank you so much.
Felon for a seed to legally slinging weed. It's the kind of feel-good story I needed. Thank you so much for calling in.
Well, keep your passion because, we need that to keep us going. And so the stress, if you believe it makes you sick, then it does. But if you believe that it propels you forward to act, then good shit can happen. So keep it up, Russ, because I know that you've got great things in your future.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Lisa.
No more Belleville bump. Let's give it back to Russ.
Yeah, bump me,
bump
baby.
To Russ.
Thanks so much. It's going to happen. I know it is.
I love you.
I love you too, baby. Take it easy.
Bye.
Yeah, that's our own Lively Libra. People don't get any better than that, let me tell you. And yeah, like I said, this is that's exactly the kind of news I need to hear. Doing this day after day, I've often said that, my background is in professional music. I was on stage most of my life in drama or music and in speech and debate as well. And you get immediate feedback. And whether you're doing good or bad. On the radio, when I first started radio in 2006, it was the freakiest thing to me. I actually got stage fright. And I never get stage fright. Well, I rarely get stage fright. I did get stage fright with Sir Richard Branson. I have to admit that. But I rarely get stage fright. I feel more comfortable.
The beginning of the end started in 1996 when California legalized weed for so-called medical purposes. 16 years later, Washington and Colorado legalized it outright and let people sell it from storefronts. And what has been the result?
The generation of millions of dollars in tax revenue for the states and creation of hundreds of new jobs in a growing multi-billion-dollar industry?
No. Well, yes, but at what cost?
Let's see. The cost of all that police time and money that's now spent going after real criminals and prisons with enough room to hold them all?
No. Well, yes, but look at what it's done to the people.
You mean that fewer of them are dying of alcohol, tobacco, and prescription-related causes since they've switched to cannabis, and many more are receiving medical benefit from a cheap, non-toxic healing herb?
No. Well, yes to all of that, but I can smell pot from my backyard. And I can't tell my kids not to do it because it's illegal.
420 Radio, the world's voice of marijuana legalization.
The pistachio. Green, natural, and available without prescription in all 50 states. He's fine.
Rastaman take over, and this our life all over. Yeah, the street of unity and follow down the scene. They gotta be keen and bring along the queen and moves and bring the machine. Is that what they say? Step it on the Rastaman, sing, 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 sing.
Welcome back, everybody. 45 after the hour. Coming up at the top of the hour, Gordon Green's Music Planet, Music of Brazil. I'm going to stick around for that. That's some good stuff. I'm loving the world music. It's great listening to music you don't understand the lyrics to. And it's not in English. There's plenty of songs I don't understand the lyrics to that are in English, but oh, thanks you guys for the spirit lift, because I tell you, I get a little every day. I'm analyzing marijuana policy and stories all around the world, and it's easy to get burnt out sometimes. There's some days when I get up, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do today for the show? But then, I see a headline about my friends, getting a year probation for doing what they're doing legally now. Or, another set of my friends goes to prison. People that are really good people. Nothing but nice and compassionate and giving people. People that didn't make, a ton of money doing what they're doing. Didn't make any money in some cases, sometimes coming out of their own pocket to keep things afloat. Being treated like we should be treating rapists and murderers and thieves. There's a story I was reading on Huffington Post in their crime section. And it was about this woman who had a violent, abusive boyfriend who finally killed her, right? And the story detailed all the warning signs and how she'd been beaten multiple times and had protective orders against the guy that he violated multiple times. And at every step along the way, he was able to slither through the system and get free to beat her up some more and terrorize her some more until finally he killed her. And my tweet to that link was, too bad they didn't find him growing some pot. It's a nasty, snarky, black humor thing to say, I know. But it is. It's too bad they didn't find him growing some pot, because then, oh my goodness, we could have brought the hammer down on him then. Found a guy with some pot, well, now we can put him away. Now we can keep tabs on him. He can come in for P-tests, blah, 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 blah. Beating a woman up regularly. Let him bail out and we'll have a protective order and he'll promise not to go near her. But my God, if we found a pot plant in the guy's house, well, we'd have to lock him up and throw away the key. See, this is where, it's in politics, sometimes the liberal side is seen as being soft on crime, right? And that's still the reason why a lot of Democrats, especially these blue dog Democrats in fairly conservative states, went along with the drug war and still continue to go along with the drug war, and why hawks like Hillary Clinton are having to pivot on the issue, as slow as an aircraft carrier trying to make a turn. They're wedded to this, notion that they can't be soft on drugs or else that's soft on crime. And you've probably been listening to me for a while. You've probably discerned that most of my views are fairly liberal. But not when it comes to crime. Okay? But when I say that, I mean actual crime. Right? Like, if there's going to be such a thing as mandatory minimum sentencing, and I don't think there should be. I think there's a reason why our Constitution has judges, and that is to judge the circumstances of a case and a particular defendant. That aside, if there are going to be such things as mandatory minimum sentences, shouldn't they apply to violence, not drugs? We have all these shootings, and I'm not going to go off on a gun thing. Don't get ready to flame me. I'm not going off on a gun thing. But we have all these shootings, we have all this violence in our society. Yet, you never ever heard anyone talk about zero tolerance for violence or mandatory minimums for violence. And when it comes to legalizing marijuana, we're often hit with the rejoinder of, well, what about the message it would send to the children? Well, what kind of message does it send to the children when a guy can, beat up his girlfriend multiple times, the mother of his child multiple times, and only gets punished if he kills her? I mean, that's some downright Leviticus shit right there. I mean, what kind of message does it send to the kids when someone who does something violent gets a slap on the wrist, but someone who does something with drugs gets the book thrown at them? I don't think there should be mandatory minimums, but I do think that anyone who commits violence against another, not in self-defense, should be in jail. They should do jail time. Real jail time. Like fuck up your job jail time. Like mess up your life jail time. Like 6 months. Drunken bar fight? Everybody in the drunken bar fight, jail for 6 months. Now, people are like, what? Really? Really, Russ? Yes, really. I played in bars for 15 years. I saw a bar fight at least once a week. So we've got this message that we send that, hey, it's okay for adults to drive their cars to a building for the express purpose of becoming inebriated and impaired, both in judgment and physicality, on one of the most addictive and dangerous drugs there is. And should they start beating each other, we won't really hold them accountable for much. Bullshit. You make 6 months jail time, minimum sentence for participation in a bar fight? There'll be some changes. There'll be a whole lot of changes real quick, wouldn't there? I just don't understand. And, in the chat room, we were had some offhand comments about, while Manu Chao was playing, about Univision and Telemundo, and Azteca America, and a bunch of other of the Spanish language channels. And you can put them on mute. Put the Spanish channel on mute. Put the, put any American channel on mute. TNT, TBS, HBO, whatever. Put them on mute and put them side by side. And aside from the fact that the people in the Spanish channel will look Hispanic, the number one difference you will see between the two sides is the English side's going to have a lot of violence on it, and the Spanish side's going to have a lot of tits and ass. Sorry to be crude. That's what it's got. I mean, come on. You've seen the Mexican shows, right? The game shows where it's like a Family Feud game show, but for some reason, there are 6 girls in bikinis in the background dancing. For no good reason. They're not part of the game show or anything. They're not showing off the prizes or nothing. They're just eye candy. They're not just game shows, like talk shows, music shows, kids shows. You seen that one kids show where they got the Mexican guy, he wears like the beanie hat and the striped shirt, the fat Mexican guy, and then there's all these like incredibly hot model lingerie model looking girls that are supposedly playing schoolgirls. And then there's the one matronly mean Mexican woman who slaps them with you've seen this one? It's like a kid's show. It's like on in the mornings, man. Now, the objectification and sexism and all that in Latino culture, that's a whole other thing we could talk about. But at least, you know what I'm not seeing on the Spanish channel? A bunch of shootings. A bunch of crime procedural dramas with blood and rape and semen and DNA and, Who songs, right? I don't see, Law and Order have 8 different versions on the Spanish channel. I don't see CSI have 6 different versions on the Spanish channel. Yeah, a lot of TNA, there's that. But you don't see a lot of violence. So I'm not trying to suggest that, well, we need to get rid of all the violent shows on TV and then there won't be all these shootings. I'm not that stupid. I'm a supporter of the First Amendment and free expression and all that. But I believe that the shows that are popular on television represent which the audience will most watch. So what does it say about America when the biggest rated shows in America are things that have to do with police solving crimes against these terrible, scary, dangerous, violent people? This culture of fear that engenders when the typical SVU or Law and Order case of this terrible murderous person is such a rare occurrence, but people see it on 5 different shows all week, right? It builds this culture of fear versus the Spanish side, which in their reality has to live through that. Their reality in Mexico is people getting shot up in the streets and beheadings and torturings and rapes and murders. And their escape from that reality is, well, a little TNA, some sex. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to approach this. And I don't know if maybe, is this kind of American fascination and sickness and fear just part of our DNA? Is it something that is unchangeable? I don't know. I don't know. But it says something about us of how we are so willing to just see, even in early, TV hours on American TV, we got no problem with car chases and wrecks and violence and explosions and blood and crime procedurals. But if Janet Jackson shows her nipple on the Super Bowl, oh no, we've got to have fines and retribution and punishment from on high. How dare you show a nipple? A black nipple at that. Oh, it's just, there's something sick about us. There's just something really, really sick. I'm hoping marijuana is part of the cure. And that sounds facetious, but I really do. I really think legalization of marijuana is part of the cure. People talk about how marijuana opens up your mind and makes you less likely to want to believe authority. It makes you question authority and stuff like that. And, I don't know if there's any scientific basis behind that, but I think there's a damn good reason why government has opposed our free use of cannabis for so long. Not that it necessarily represents the hippies and the civil rights and all those things of the Vietnam War era, but that it actually produces that kind of thinking, that it does connect us in a better way, that it does open our minds to better experiences and morality. And if that's the case, then perhaps as we legalize marijuana, you've already seen the crime drop in Colorado since legalization, right? As we legalize marijuana more and more, maybe that leads us to being less violent. Who knows? Be nice to see. Let's find out. Let's try it and find out. Let's legalize everywhere and see what happens. Hey, we got just a little time before we wind things up. I want to remind you, tomorrow night is the season finale of Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink. The episode is Funk Incognito, which is a tune you don't normally think of as funk, played as funk, or a funk tune played by a different group. Funk Incognito, the season finale of season 3 of Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink before Big Daddy goes off on his summer vacation. We will have replays of the Funky Roller Rink all summer long, so make sure you stop by every Thursday at 5 and 8, and on the weekends at 10 and 11. That's AM and PM on all of those for Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink. Coming up next, we've got Music of Brazil on Gordon Green's Music Planet, and coming up on Friday night on Herb Thrasher Flower Hour, our special guest will be Danny Danko, the senior cultivation editor from High Times Magazine, giving us a preview of the Bay Area Cannabis Cup that both Herb Thrasher and I will be attending. It'll be Herb Thrasher's first Cannabis Cup. If you want to meet the master of metal and marijuana, this will be your chance. Also, it looks like Ganja John might be going and renting an RV, so who knows what kind of trouble we can get in on that. Wow, folks, 2 hours. It flies by real quick when we're hanging out with friends. Thanks for joining us here in Rolla J Studios in beautiful Portland, Oregon, where it's sunny out. I'm going to go get on my bike and work out. Be back tomorrow with more news and interviews you can use for the cannabis community. Thanks to everyone out there, and especially Lively Libra for all the kind words. For Priscilla Seib, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.